Welcome to Truth Behind History. This is the channel where we dive deep into the moments that shaped our world, unpacking stories from the past and uncovering the truths you might not have learned in school. Today, we're uncovering the rise and fall of ancient India's greatest civilizations, from the illustrious Indus Valley to the grand Gupta Empire. In this lesson, we'll explore where these civilizations began, the remarkable achievements they left behind, and why they eventually disappeared from the spotlight. Buckle up, folks, history is about to come alive. In this segment, we'll set out our roadmap. By the end of this lesson, you should be able to identify the key ancient Indian civilizations, analyze their major achievements, like innovative city planning and profound philosophical texts, assess the reasons for their rise and fall, and finally reflect on their long-lasting impact on modern society. Essentially, we'll arm ourselves with a historian's toolbox, so we can piece together how these ancient cultures still shape the world today. Let's set the stage with some geography. On your screen, you see a map of the Indian subcontinent, highlighting the regions where these fascinating civilizations flourished, the fertile Indus Valley, the expansive Gangetic Plains, and more. Picture vast rivers like the Indus and the Ganges, whose seasonal flooding brought nutrients to the soil. Meanwhile, the monsoon rains created cycles of abundance and sometimes scarcity, driving these societies to innovate. This climate and terrain weren't just backdrops. They were the catalysts for complex urban centers, trade routes, and the seeds of empires. Now, let's journey back to one of humanity's earliest urban marvels, the Indus Valley civilization. They thrived along the Indus River in what is now northwest India and Pakistan. You've probably heard of Mohenjo-Daro and Harappa, both showcasing an almost futuristic city design. Imagine neatly laid out streets, intricate drainage systems that put some modern setups to shame, and massive granaries storing grain to feed vast populations. Their craftsmanship was top-notch. They worked with beads, metals, and even had a script we still haven't cracked, mysterious symbols on seals that hint at a sophisticated culture. Sadly, around 1300 BCE, these cities began to fade. Scholars debate possible climate shifts, changing river courses, or breakdowns in trade. Whatever the cause, the once bustling urban centers were gradually abandoned, leaving behind tantalizing clues for modern archaeologists. Next up, the Vedic period. Following the Indus Valley decline, new groups, often called Aryans, migrated and settled along the Gangetic Plains. Over time, we see a shift from pastoral lifestyles to settled agriculture. The prized literary treasures of this era are the Vedas, the Rig, Sama, Yajur, and Atharva. These texts are like snapshots of their religious beliefs and societal norms, laying groundwork for early Hindu practices. We also see the emergence of the Varna system, structuring society into distinct classes, something that would influence India for centuries. Small kingdoms, or Janapadas, sprouted across the region, each with unique rulers and traditions. The seeds planted in this Vedic period would eventually blossom into much larger states in later times. Now we zoom ahead to the first large-scale empire on the subcontinent, the Mauryan Empire. Founded by the ambitious Chandragupta Maurya, this empire united an astonishing portion of the region under a centralized administration. Then came Bindusara, who extended dominion further south. However, the real superstar many remember is Emperor Ashoka. He famously converted to Buddhism after witnessing the devastating Kalinga War. With a change of heart, he championed non-violence, sending missionaries across Asia to spread Buddhist teachings. Ashoka's edicts, etched onto pillars and rocks, offer us direct glimpses into his moral code and governance. The Mauryans built roads, rest houses, and promoted healthcare, revolutionary for that time. Yet, after Ashoka's reign, the empire's central control wavered. Economic strain and regional dissent eventually led to its downfall. But the Mauryans left an enduring legacy in governance and religious patronage. With the Mauryan Empire's collapse, India experienced political fragmentation, like a vase shattered into many pieces. Various regional dynasties emerged, such as the Shungas, Satavahanas, and Kushans, each adding its own brushstroke to the cultural and political canvas. These transitional years paved the way for new ideas and smaller power centers, setting the stage for yet another golden era that would soon dawn. Enter the Gupta Empire, often hailed as the Golden Age of ancient India. Founded by Chandragupta I, then expanded by successors like Samudragupta and Chandragupta II, this dynasty oversaw a cultural renaissance. Literature flourished, think of the legendary playwright Kalidasa, while art and architecture took majestic form in intricate temples and sculptures. On the scientific front, the Guptas were no slackers. They refined the decimal system and formalized the concept of zero, enabling giant leaps in mathematics and astronomy. Economically, trade routes connected the subcontinent to distant lands, sustained by stable currency and a supportive state. And while the Guptas promoted Hinduism, they weren't zealots. Buddhism and Jainism still found respect. Eventually, though, invasions, particularly by the Hunas, and internal economic troubles disrupted this golden reign, dissolving central power. What did these great civilizations leave behind? First, pioneering urban planning. The Indus Valley's grid layouts inspired future settlements. Next, philosophy and religion. From the Vedas to Buddhist teachings, we see thought systems that shaped spiritual practices worldwide. In science and math, India's decimal system and the concept of zero fueled advancements in global mathematics and technology. And let's not forget administration and governance. The Mauryan centralized bureaucracy and the Guptas' more flexible yet efficient rule are two timeless models of statecraft. All these contributions still echo through modern culture, education, and governance systems. Here's a thought starter for you. How did geography, rivers, mountains, monsoon rains, influence these civilization successes and failures? Consider forming small groups to debate how each empire rose and fell, focusing on environmental and socio-political forces. You could even identify the top 3 contributions you feel remain especially relevant. Don't be shy, pose your burning questions, because true learning happens when we challenge and clarify our ideas. It's amazing how the past molds the present. Many rituals, architectural motifs, and societal norms in modern India trace back to these ancient roots, like the reverence for sacred texts or temple designs echoing centuries-old techniques. Globally, the spread of Buddhism illustrates India's cultural diplomacy, influencing spiritual practices across East and Southeast Asia. Not to mention those mathematical leaps, zero and the decimal system, vital building blocks of everything from basic arithmetic to rocket science. Let's recap our journey. We saw the urban genius of the Indus Valley, the foundational texts and societal frameworks of the Vedic period, the sweeping governance and Buddhist zeal of the Mauryan Empire, and finally the cultural and scientific pinnacle of the Gupta Empire. Each civilization had its moment of glory, and each fell to a mix of internal challenges and external pressures. History repeats itself in cycles, reminding us that no empire stands forever. Now's a good time to test your knowledge. Can you name the ruler who famously championed Buddhism, or the civilization credited with establishing advanced drainage systems? Think about it, and maybe jot your answers down to see how much you've learned. If today's lesson sparked your curiosity, I recommend diving deeper with these books: The History of India, Volume 1 by Romila Thapar, or John Key's India, A History. You can also explore Upinder Singh's comprehensive A History of Ancient and Early Medieval India. And for multimedia buffs, look for National Geographic documentaries on the Indus Valley, check out UNESCO World Heritage Sites online, or take virtual tours in museums showcasing Mauryan and Gupta artifacts. There's a whole universe of knowledge waiting. And that, dear learners, concludes our deep dive into some of India's most pivotal ancient civilizations. I hope you've enjoyed this journey as much as I have. If you found this video enlightening, please subscribe to Truth Behind History, hit that like button, and leave a comment sharing your favorite takeaway from these empires. Also, don't forget to check out our other videos if you love uncovering the world's historical secrets. Until next time, this is Professor Quibbleton signing off. Stay curious.